Welcome to Aliens, Anomie, and Arrest Records. I'm Molly.
And I'm Lilica.
And we're two best friends and sociologists.
And we love everything weird and dark and mysterious. And in this podcast, we talk about things that are true crime, paranormal, sometimes both. And in our first episode, today we are going to talk about something that really has a lot of twists and turns. So this is a story that if you don't like the first part, just give it a few minutes because it's going to turn into something completely different. So our story today starts in 1888. We're going to talk about the...
all creepy stuff starts in the 1800s.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
This particular story starts in 1888. It starts in California at the Hollydale Asylum. So in 1888, this building was originally the Los Angeles County Poor Farm. Was built to house the poor and destitute and people who were considered criminally insane. And this really became a place where they would kind of just stick people that they didn't know what else to do with them, right? And so it stayed this poor farm for about 40 years. And in the 1930s, it became the Ranchos Los Amigos. And this was to focus on therapy, like different occupational therapy and physical therapy. So they were trying to get away from like the poor farm image. And they became Ranchos Los Amigos and did more things like physical and occupational therapy. In the 1940s, during World War II, it became a kind of a military base, Camp Morrow, and they were also helping folks who had polio. So it kind of became like a polio hospital. Eventually, it was abandoned in the 1980s, so it had kind of turned into a couple of different things, and then in the 1980s, they abandoned it because it was kind of falling apart. In 2006, though, the Marines started using the grounds. So there had been, for a while, there had been some kind of creepy, like folklore, urban legend kind of things happening there. People would claim that they were seeing things. And in the 2000s, the Marines started using this as a training area. And one of the creepiest facts about this place is that the Marines, while training, found a box holding 10 mummified legs, human legs.
I just don't know how to take that. What does one do when you come across, they just found them, like you said, it was a box?
In a box, yeah, of 10 legs. So at least 5 human bodies worth. I would hope they're all from 2 legs from each person.
Not 10 people with each giving their leg up.
But it was a polio fart.
How long has this existed? And these body parts
they were mummified, so they had to have been there for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and how many times has this switched hands? And everybody's like, oh, it's just,
a random box of legs.
Grandma's stuff in the attic.
Just some souvenirs.
some hand-me-downs. We should not be laughing about that, but it's like, what does one do? I
don't know. Kind of creepy, though, to find mummified legs. So that's really the first, there had always been some folklore, some urban legends around it, but the 2006 incident got widely reported, and the Marines that had found them were pretty vocal about oh, hey, we found these legs, right? So it was something that became kind of popularized through the media was like, okay, so some weird stuff's happening here, right?
And that kind of gives evidence, right? Like, people
absolutely.
are already believing in the creepy, which I think is part and parcel to some of these places, right? Where we've put, like, society's most marginalized, you know? And so the ones that we have pushed to the outskirts, so they already become mystery to us.
Yeah.
And then we build all this folklore around it. But then when you can provide some sort of evidence to that folklore.
Yeah. Well, you have a place where a lot of people have died. And so it creates its own folklore in a sense. People start to attach different things to it. And like, oh, they know a bunch of people have died in this place. So let's like go drive by it and see if we can see anything weird. Right. Yeah. And happens that way. So yeah, the 2006 incident was really like the first like publicized incident of something like really concretely like happening there, right? In 2022, it actually caught fire, and a bunch of the buildings on the grounds ended up being like condemned, and they're still. What I could find in research is that they're still there. They're slotted to be like torn down, but they haven't been demolished yet. So there are a couple of like really interesting paranormal stories that come from this particular the property there. And one is that people report seeing a woman falling from the ceiling, like a ghost lady who falls from the ceiling, which I find absolutely terrifying.
Like through the ceiling?
Yeah, they just see her like on the ceiling and falls. That one's really
absolutely
creepy.
Not. There's just something about like things crawling on the ceiling, you know, or being like above you.
Yeah. I think that got popularized in the Japanese horror stories, like you know, in the early 2000s. All of those shows or movies came out about the Japanese hauntings and the creepy like, ghost people were crawling around on the ceiling. I couldn't find the first reported case of somebody seeing that woman, but it seems like these go back quite a bit. So I think this was before those movies came out. Even people were watching this ghost woman fall from the ceiling. There's also a story of the vanishing priest. So they see like a ghost priest and he just vanishes. Some reports do say that it's actually a vanishing patient, like a polio patient. But most of the reports are a priest. That's kind of interesting. And then there's a doctor that walks around the grounds that people say that they see. But there is also some reported like cult and demonic worshiping sort of activity going on. People have reported that they found like animals that had been mutilated and like sacrificed.
Which is really interesting, especially if you're thinking about like, again, all of these places that kind of have like this mysteriousness to it. You often see like linked to it are things of like satanic worship, cult worship, right? Sure. Like linking the most strange to the most strange always, right? And if one exists, then they all kind of have to somehow exist together and cohesively and like as if, you know, cults just hang out.
Yeah, in abandoned
like
hospitals and start mutilating animals.
This is like not.
It's not really how that works.
They hang out in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
It's not a lie.
Not a lie.
We got some here,
which we'll talk about.
We will absolutely be talking about cults. But yeah, that's kind of like the history of Hollydale. Pretty interesting place. Our story moves. It gets weird. There's some twists and turns here.
But we come back. We'll come back to Hollydale.
We're going to come back. So we're going to jump to Florida, 2018, and talk about a man named Grant Amato. So Grant Amato is a young man living in Florida. 2018, he's still living with his parents and his brother, his older brother Cody, who is just like a year older than him. Like they're very close in age. It's reported that in 2018, Grant starts. So a little background, actually, we should kind of explain. Grant was a nurse. He went to nursing school. He became a nurse. It was said that his family was really close knit growing up, and that him and his brother played a lot of sports. They were very close. Seemed like the family was just kind of like an all-American, like what we think of as like that all-American family, right? They lived in a really nice house. The dad was a pharmacist. The mom also had a job that was well-paying, and they were just kind of like I don't know, seemed like a close-knit family. And Grant and Cody were very close. They did have an older brother who was, I think, a half-brother, and the dad had adopted him. But 2018, Grant gets fired from his job as a nurse because they caught him stealing 8 vials of propofol. It's a hard word for me. Propofol.
It's the stuff that kills Michael Jackson.
It is. Yes.
Well,
yeah, he was
administered dead to him by somebody who killed him.
Yeah. So Grant was stealing that stuff, right? The vials of this drug, and he is fired, but the hospital refuses to go through with charges against him because Grant said that he was using these drugs to give to patients because he didn't feel like the doctors were giving the patients enough painkiller. And so he said he was administering it to patients to help them, and they didn't want lawsuits. So they dropped the charges against him. Said we're not going to charge him. He's just fired. Right?
And in the meantime, if he was doing that, which I know that there's questions about whether or not he was using, like, actually doing that or, selling them or whatever. But the fact of the matter is like, this system that's supposed to protect people is like, nobody died.
But they know.
So that means fine.
That's fine.
We just don't want people to know.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want lawsuits from the family, so money over people.
Absolutely. Always
in our systems. So Grant gets fired from his job. He's spending a lot of time at home. He finds, he discovers the world of cam girls. There are a couple of websites that he was using, but he found one, and he was very much involved in this cam girl website. And he finds this woman named Sylvie from Belarus, and he starts talking to her. And by late 2018, Grant had sent Sylvie like thousands and thousands of dollars. So it cost about $600 an hour to talk to Sylvie. And Grant was spending like sometimes $20,000 a day talking to her. And and it's really interesting to kind of see how the cam girl world works. So she was so popular, like she was making a lot of money from a lot of different people. So she had several men who were paying her to talk to them. And they were all paying her like $600 an hour. But what I find so interesting about like this world of cam girls, so Grant was becoming friends with the other men who were like also paying Sylvie. To me, that it's like, isn't that your competition?
Yeah, it's like a reverse harem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, they're like brother husbands? I don't know what that would be. But I mean, like, like, it's, yeah, those are like the guys that are vying for the attention of the same woman that you have this weird parasocial relationship with.
And that you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars every day to talk to. And like you would think like it has to get competitive, but he was very involved with these other men. Like they were in a friendship. So it was like a community based around this woman. And they were all kind of like sending her, lots and lots of money and becoming friends with each other. It was just very strange.
Because you would think that you could even like tie this to like fanship, like
Yeah.
how fandoms do very similar things. But this is different in the sense that they are not vying for the idea of like surrounding like, oh, I like her music, or I like her acting skills. Like they're having somewhat of a sexual, emotional, pseudo romantic kind of relationship with her,
Yeah.
So it's just odd that they would find community with each other.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So Grant's spending all of this money on her, and he ends up spending about $200,000 of his family's money. So he had blown through all of his own money. He was asking his parents for money, asking his brother Cody for money, and they were giving him money until eventually the dad was like, "Oh no, like you got to stop, bro." And he ended up he was stealing money. He was like taking it out of their banking account, and like, yeah, so he was stealing money. At this point, like $200,000 worth of money had gone to Sylvie. And in December of 2018, Grant and Cody go to Japan with a friend. And this friend and Grant and Cody seem like they were all like pretty good friends. The friend and Cody, the brother, they were kind of more friends than Grant was. Grant kind of, it seems like reading through some of the information, it seems like Grant never really had his own friends. It was, his friend was Cody, right? And then like Cody's friends all were like, okay, yeah, Grant, fine, whatever. Like little brother can tag along kind of ordeal. I don't know, but it just didn't come across like Grant had his own friends. I don't know if that's relevant, but I think it can when it comes to self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely. And masculinity, and and
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that Grant and Cody were kind of interested in was anime, and that's one of the reasons why they wanted to go to Japan, was they wanted to go see all of the like anime museums or whatever they have there. Well, on their last day, Grant and Cody and their friend were supposed to go do something all together, and Grant was like, oh, actually I don't feel good, I'm just gonna stay in the hotel. And so Cody and the friend leave and they go do something, whatever. And the friend's parents call the friend. It was like, hey, why are you spending a bunch of money? Like, why is your credit card being used right now? And the friend looked, and his credit card is gone. Grant had stole his credit card, the friend's credit card, and gone to an internet cafe in Japan and started like using the computer there to contact Sylvie. So he ended up spending like $600 worth of his friend's money in Japan. Yeah, and so I can imagine what that flight back home was like. That would be so awkward.
Could you imagine
being Cody? Like, could you imagine that? Like, how awkward that is. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, my brother stole money from you.
And to go to a internet cafe and be weird. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm embarrassed by proxy.
I know, me too. It's so embarrassing. Yeah. So, Grant gets kicked out. Parents are like, we're done. This is ridiculous. And we're not gonna like put up with your shit anymore. So Grant leaves and goes to his aunt's house, and his aunt lets him stay there for like a little while. And the aunt eventually like discovers that Grant has been stealing money from her too. So she calls Grant's dad, Chad, and was like, hey, like, your kid's stealing money from me. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I know. And at that point, he breaks down, like, on the phone with the aunt. And, like, I can't retire. Like, I'm supposed to retire. I'm not going to be able to retire for years because Grant has taken all of our money. Like, we're so far in debt, right?
And you're a parent.
Yeah. And that has to be really hard.
Like, thing to talk about. I mean, I know that people are always like, oh, this is why parents should be harder on their kids and all that kind of stuff. But it's your kid.
Well, and you're, like, it in my research, like, it doesn't sound like he was, like, just a lackadaisical dad. Like, he was kind of strict. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like he was just letting his boys get away with anything. Like, it was reported, like, you don't want to make dad mad. Like, that kind of thing. So it's not like he was just like, oh yeah, kids, like, go do whatever you want to do.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Well, and also, you have a guy who, I mean, is educated. He's has a nursing degree.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like even your son, it's not like he has, it just seems like if I'm a parent, I'm looking at this like my child just has a problem.
Yeah.
Not that my child is like an inherently bad person, but that there's something else going on and like I'm struggling with what to do with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It would be really hard. For sure. So his Grant's dad and, well, his family goes and gets him and basically forces him, they have an intervention, forces him into a rehab. Like, you have to go to this rehab. And the rehab itself is kind of for, like, internet addiction. So, not exactly what Grant is dealing with, but they recognize it as possibly like an addiction. So they send him to this rehab. He was supposed to stay 60 or 90 days. But he gets out in just a few days because he knows what to say to the people there. He knows what to say. And he's telling them, like, oh, I know, like, he's taking responsibility for it. He says he knows what he has done. He knows that it's wrong. He knows how to fix it. He's not denying that he has a problem, kind of thing, right? And so the rehab was like, we don't know what, like, you're saying all the right things, and there's nothing we can teach you because you're telling us what we want to hear.
Like, you know.
Yeah, and they knew that he was not, like, being truthful. You know, like, they knew, like, he wasn't being helped by this.
Yeah.
Right? So, kind of a tricky situation there. His parents let him come back, unfortunately. But, like, what else do you do?
But again, it's your kid.
Yeah, it's hard.
And you now you've identified he has a problem.
Yeah.
So you go into savior mode.
Right.
You know, like, I'm gonna take care of you, and I'll be strict on you, and I'm gonna take things away, and I'm gonna.
Yeah. Well, and that's eventually what happens. So his family lets him back in. And he is met with, like, a contract, like a list of demands. You will not contact Sylvie. You will not have access to the internet. You will not have a phone that has access to the internet. Like, nothing. No computers, nothing. But so there's still a lot to the story, but essentially he's getting access to the internet, right? And he starts contacting Sylvie again. He's asking his mom, like, hey, Mom, can I use your phone? Right? After his dad's saying, if you're going to come back, you cannot have any access. And his mom would feel bad, so she'd be like, yeah, you can use the phone. And, you know, he was contacting Sylvie, and he was spending his parents' money again on this relationship with this woman. And his dad finds out, and his dad's like, okay, well, now we're done.
Yeah.
You are done. Kicks him out, tells him he's not allowed to come back. And it sounds like it was a pretty brutal, like,
Conversation
between those two. Yeah. So Grant leaves because his dad has kicked him out and said you're not allowed to come back. there's still some like unclear like exactly what has happened, but he what they do know is that Grant's phone connected to Cody's computer the night that he's kicked out.
Interesting.
Yeah. So not really sure all of the details in between all of that stuff, but they do know that his phone connected to the computer. So, the next day, it's thought that Grant comes back home. He sees his mom at her computer, like at a desk in their office, and he shoots her in the back of the head. And she dies. And then he waits for his dad to come home, and he shoots him. This part really creeps me out. So the dad had come home, and his lunchbox is like on the counter. There's chicken that had been frozen that is now on the counter. Like his dad had taken out, right? Like the chicken, it was thawing. He was about to make dinner, right? So this is 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And the dad, Chad, was wearing like a step tracker or like a smartwatch, and it was tracking his steps. So they know like what was happening.
Like how he came in, how whatever he was doing. Yeah.
And so they think that it was, like around 6 o'clock when his dad was actually shot. Grant takes the phone out of his dad's pocket. So takes his dad's phone out of his dad's pocket. And they know this because like he didn't have his phone in his pocket anymore. And Grant, because he had shot his dad, he was covered in blood. Grant had to wipe his dad's finger off, like the blood off of his dad's finger to activate his phone. So he took his dad's phone, used his bloody finger, like wiped it off, used it to turn on the phone, get access to the phone, so that he could get on the internet and talk to Sylvie.
That is so intimate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is the ultimate, like, F you moment, where it's like, you told me I couldn't do that. Like, how petulant child, right? I mean, like, you told me I couldn't do this, so I'm literally going to wipe off the blood that is, like, seeping from your body after I murdered you to access the very thing that you told me that I couldn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like really intimate,
It is.
And not like, I mean, obviously when I'm saying intimate, it's like not like a
right.
But like it's such a personal thing.
Well, and you have to like look past the fact that you've just murdered someone that raised you.
Yeah.
And like just the fact, just the idea of like wiping that blood away. That was what like really stuck to me, like in this story.
There's such like a power dynamic there too.
Yeah.
That I think about when I think about that, like taking back that power away from his dad.
Yeah.
Like
True.
You said I couldn't have this, and like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to pick up that hand. And I'm like, hate to be so gruesome, but you do. You have to pick that up, and you have to deliberately do something.
Yeah.
And using his specific phone.
Right. Yeah.
And
and it's not really clear why he's using his dad's phone, other than I wonder if he was able to like connect it to the bank account, because he was using the bank account, right?
Yeah.
So the story almost gets worse here. It's so messed up. So Grant waits for his brother Cody, who he's very close with, right, to come home from work. And then he also kills Cody. And it's weird. So he kills Cody, and then he tries to stage the scene to make it look like Cody killed the parents and then himself.
Just also, again, like such an intimate thing to do.
And, like, your brother that you were so close with and that was giving you money and always was, like, the mediator between the parents and Grant. And, like, you're not going to let him live?
Yeah,
Like,
well, because at that point in time, like, can you let him live?
well, you get mad at the parents, you kill the parents, right? And, like, but Cody's the one that is there, like, being the mediator and, like, helping you through a bunch of stuff. And it seemed like Cody was never, like, overly judgmental. However, when Grant was in the rehab, Cody and Chad, the dad, had contacted Sylvie and said, hey, you know, Grant, like, is stealing money, right? And, like, using money. And they found out that Grant had told, like, this huge lie, like, had created his own persona. Like, his life was not what it was online, right? He was like, I live in my own apartment. It's really nice. I drive really nice cars. I'm a Twitch person.
Yeah, yeah, like a
Twitcher.
Yeah, I feel like a Twitch. Yeah,
he said
streamer.
Streamer.
Yeah,
like he was. He claimed to be a famous gamer, like popular gamer, making a lot of money. Gaming.
Why would you question that when he's like throwing $200,000 of spending money at you?
Right. And they told Sylvie in, like, that community that he was lying to them. So I do wonder if that, like, really.
It's like an ultimate betrayal thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't matter how close you and I are. Now you've stepped over a bounds because now you're like in my community now too.
Yeah.
And you've made me look bad to the very people that I've built this whole persona around.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
That's creepy.
So, so he kills the family. He stages it to try to make it look like the brother has killed them. Right. And then he leaves. The reason why they discovered the bodies is because Cody's coworkers were like, he shows up for work every day and he'd not show up the day after. And so they call for, like, a welfare check, and the police go and find the bodies. And, like, pretty immediately the cops were like, yeah, it's absolutely staged. There's no way Cody actually did all of this, because, like, he was found, it was weird. Like, he was found in a, like, certain position that they were like, it's not. It
just, like, doesn't make sense.
Something else was kind of interesting. The dad was found with a gun on his hip. Like, they were, like, this family was, like, really into guns. And the dad had a gun, like a holster on his hip, but there was a speck of blood under the holster. So Grant put the gun on him after he shot him. And I don't know. I'm sure there's, like, some reason why he did that. It's probably part of, like, how he staged it. But
yeah, like, what his purpose is for thinking that.
But
like,
I could never quite, like, figure out why he did all of that. Yeah, it's just, like, weird. I do think, like, maybe though you're murdering your entire family, maybe you aren't thinking through everything.
I mean, you think you know, but, like, do you? Yeah. I mean, you know, like.
Well, and I also go back and forth, like, he's educated, he has to be pretty smart, but he's also doing a lot of dumbass stuff.
Yeah, he's not doing smart things.
No. So, I don't know.
And I mean, how many educated people do we know that are, like, really, really not?
About, like, the dumbest
people that we're like, yeah, that does not, you know, like, you can pass the test.
Yeah, good job. Good job. It's our conversations about people. Smart or not. So Grant leaves, right? He's out of the house by the time the cops get there. And it seems like he had spent, like, quite a bit of time in a parking lot, like, talking to Sylvie. And then they end up finding him at a DoubleTree hotel. Like, there was a manhunt for this guy, and they ended up finding him. He's so dumb. This is what
like a DoubleTree? Like, you're gonna go be staying at a DoubleTree hotel? You're not staying at, like, Roadside Inn where it's like, sorry if that's, like, a real brand, but I'm just, oops. Like, I meant, like, you know.
Yeah. Well,
travel away, whatever it is. And, like, where they take cash and you can't be, and you can give them, a false name, or
You don't go to a hostel. Like,
that would have been better than what I was. I'm just like, you're like, you could go to a hostel. I'm like coming up with this whole.
I think I'd like go to the woods.
For sure.
Okay, but I'm not gonna murder it.
No, but
I
I mean,
like if I need to run from the cops, I'm not going to a DoubleTree.
no, I'm not. I'm
And
not gonna go like, chill with some waffles for breakfast.
There are no waffles in the woods, so
Maybe this is the way to go out.
Go
out with a bang.
Get your continental breakfast before you get arrested.
Like,
okay, I'm on board.
You heard it here first.
Oh my gosh. Well, so he ends up getting arrested after like a 24-hour manhunt, right? And he gets charged with 3 counts of murder. And it's pretty interesting. His trial comes up pretty quick after he gets arrested. So this is pre-COVID. And his trial was in July of that same year. So in 2019. So the murders happened in January. He's in trial by July.
Oh,
which
wow,
seems
it's pretty
really
fast.
quick.
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
like a very quick thing.
But if it's a pretty cut and dry case.
And there's a lot to it, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, they brought in a lot of witnesses, and I think that they even tried to get Sylvie in. So there are a couple of witnesses that get called, but in the court documents are redacted. The names are. And I think Sylvie is one of them because her name isn't really mentioned. And I don't know why, like, Sylvie, maybe it's a moniker, and they just use that.
Yeah.
But, like, even over in Belarus, like, they're trying to bring her over. It seemed like that it was her based on what is being said. And then there are a couple of other redacted names, so it's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
So I don't know how, like, cut and dry it was, but it was a quick trial. 2 trial. Once he was in trial, it seemed like it took forever. But in August of 2019, he ends up being convicted. And he was sentenced to life in prison, rightfully so. Feels appropriate.
I mean, yeah, especially for a place like Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually surprising.
A little bit.
That he wasn't given, like, the death penalty or something like that. Yeah.
So that happens. He is convicted and he's in prison, right? And then a few years later, a Netflix documentary called Control Alt Delete is made about Grand Amato, and it becomes wildly popular. Like, people are loving it. It was one of the top viewed documentaries of that year. Like, people were really into it. And it was good. It's really, really good. It's fascinating. And they go into so much more depth and, like, analyze his mental state and stuff. It's a good one. Definitely something that is watch-worthy for sure. But because of this documentary, right, he gets kind of a lot of people who are interested in him, right? He gets a lot of letters. People are kind of coming out of the woodwork talking to him, right? And he starts getting letters from this one woman. And she is just really going in on Grant Amato. She is, like, super psyched to be talking to him. But she had seen him on the documentary and was like, I'm going to, like, write him and I want to, like, get to know him or whatever. I don't know how you do that, but she starts talking to him. He starts responding and they start forming a relationship. He somehow ends up with a cell phone and they start communicating, like, through text, through Facebook messaging,
which is wild to me.
Yeah, like a contraband phone.
Like, I called somebody an asshole on Facebook one time, and it censored my comment. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the guy in prison can have a Facebook account.
Yeah, Facebook was like, this is against our community standards.
All you had to do was murder 3 people, and then it would have been fine.
Contraband found?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been great. Then I could call whoever I want to that.
So he ends up in this kind of relationship with this woman, and the messages are so gross, like sexually explicit. They're just gross. They're just being very gross to each other. Well, she was like, I'm in love with you, and he's like, I'm in love with you too.
Of
right?
course.
Mm-hmm. She's like, but I have a problem. I'm married. And
Shucks.
Right, shocker. So she's like, I don't know what to do. I want to be with you. And they kind of like start talking bad about her husband. They're like, oh, he's not who I want to be with. I want to be with you. Grant has the brilliant idea that he could, like, we could take care of it. And she was like, do you think that you could help me kill him?
Not divorce.
Not divorce. No.
Not like, hey, I'm cool with just having like this secret side, hustle.
And I don't know if like he was like, well, maybe divorce him, and she was like, how about kill him? Like, I don't know like all of the details, but
let me just hear me out. Hear me out. You say divorce, I say murder.
Just jump straight to murder.
Absolutely. Why not? I'm not like you. That sounds so bad, but I mean,
so they're having this weird relationship. They decide that they're going to murder him, right? They're going to have this plot to hire somebody to murder him. So they get somebody on the outside, agree to murder this guy. What I could kind of gather from reading this was that it was somebody who had been in prison with Grant, and he had created a friendship with him, maybe.
Like somehow there's some sort of connection
between him and this guy from the outside because of prison. And the plot for hire for murder, is kind of happening in California. Like the people are in California, right? So so the guy that is supposed to be murdering the husband is in prison or in California.
Mm-hmm.
So they I don't know all of the details because it's very difficult to find all of the exactly what happened. But what they know is that this woman, right, is trying to have her husband killed and giving Grant Amato the directions on here's where you go find him. This is how you should do it. This is when you should do it, right? She ends up still kind of unclear, but it seems like she was using her husband's money to pay the hitman.
That's that's as bad as taking somebody's finger, wiping off the blood. Again, another very intimate thing. I'm going to use your money to have you killed.
Oh, but she was getting a deal. $11,000. It's that's all it costs.
It's all you need.
11,000.
You can murder somebody cheaper than getting a used car.
Yeah. Just getting rid of people for almost nothing.
No wonder she was like, hear me out. Hear me out. If I get divorced, this is going to cost me more than $11,000.
That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put up all this money, and then I'm going to have to see this man.
Yeah, but then if she has him murdered, she gets all of this stuff.
Done.
Minus 11,000.
Minus 11,000.
Got it. Got it in the bag.
The fact that we clearly are thinking this through is all the indications we need.
Oh my god. Well, so it gets so crazy here. So this woman, turns out, her name's Victoria. She tells Grant and the guy, right? The guy that is supposed to be murdering her husband. Go find him. He's going to be at Hollydale Asylum.
And we're back. Back to the beginning.
He's going to be at Hollydale Asylum because he is going to be filming an episode of his show, Ghost Hunters.
Oh my God. Oh.
It is Victoria Goodwin, and her husband is on the show Ghost Adventures.
There's so much there.
And she wants him to be murdered on set at Hollydale Asylum. So, she's,
I have so much to say.
I know. And it is one of those stories where I'm like, I don't, how do you do that? There is so much to it, right? There are so many angles, so many different things that we can look at. But you think about,
well, he's obviously not killed. Like,
right.
Aaron Goodwin is not.
Right. Thank you, because I was like, oh my God.
Wait, let's get to this, talking about this.
I'm not even interested in that part. we
get it, man, but no, yeah.
So the FBI calls Aaron Goodwin while they're on set and was like, hey, man, we're really sorry to tell you this, but we just arrested your wife because she was trying to have someone murder you on set today. And we just watched the clip, and it's so funny. Like, it's terrible, and it's super not funny in any way. But they show this on the show. The episode of them at Hollydale Asylum, they show Aaron Goodwin get the phone call. They're recording all of this. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I gotta go outside because I'm getting called by the cops. Well, in the middle of the show, in this episode, and they filmed it and then kept it in the episode.
Could you imagine being the cop for just a minute? It's like, so I'm just generally just awkward. I'm a generally awkward person, and I hate making phone calls to people, in general.
Well, same.
So I live for the voicemail, And I could not imagine being that cop who's like, please go to voicemail. You know what I'm saying? I
don't think they could let it go to voicemail. I think
do you have to just keep calling?
Yeah, something.
I just want to let you know that your wife has been arrested.
Yeah.
Because, I hate to break it to you, brother, but she wants you dead.
Yeah, she's trying to have you killed. She paid $11,000 to have you killed.
And I also just think it's so interesting to your point about keeping it in the show. All of this is just really spectacle. There's so much spectacle to all of the ideas of the media from Netflix amplification to why she wants him killed on a set of a television show. So she falls in love with somebody because of media amplification. Then she wants to amplify the murder even more through it being live televised. Right? No, not live, sorry, but televised.
Right.
And then also the fact that the show itself shows this and the creep factor to all of it, which just amplifies everything about the show. Because if you're looking at things this is a ghost hunter. Mm-hmm. And when we think about ghost hunters, who's going to attack a ghost hunter? It's going to be a ghost. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be the, whatever old lady's going to jump from the ceiling, freaking attach to his head, and you know what I'm saying?
The disappearing priest is going to disappear, yeah.
Right into his body, Casper style. And but that's not the scary, it's the real people who are scary.
Yeah.
Not the ghosts.
Yeah. It's the people you trust the most. All around in this whole story. It's the people that you're related to, that you've dedicated your life to. Yep.
Oh, you're right. Because, like, even from Grant Amato and, like, killing, I mean, we've seen so many instances of, like, children killing their parents for whatever reason it is, or whatever reason they concoct. But the idea of, like, you're his brother, even.
Yeah.
And then her going after her husband, who, it doesn't seem like there was any sort of, I mean, they've somewhat provided, like, this kind of, like, image of themselves that seems pretty happy.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
in the show, and I know you don't watch it like I do. I love Ghost Adventures. I think it is so interesting. In that show, Aaron Goodwin is, like, the big goofy guy, right? He's, like, always doing something weird and, like, goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, one intro to the show, like, they were talking about where they were gonna go, and they're looking around, they're like, oh, where's Aaron, right? And they're next to a river, and he comes down, like, on a raft, like that, and that's how he enters,
like, he's like the goofy
he's,
guy,
like, goofy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's always the one that they're like, oh, it's almost a trope on the show, like, go, Aaron, go in there, you gotta go in there by yourself, you gotta be, you gotta do, like, the really scary stuff. And he's always, like, big and goofy, like, I don't want to go in there, right? And it's kind of silly, but he's the one that's always, like, happy and goofy, and it's just weird, like, that you see him in the context of, like, his wife is trying to have him murdered.
Yeah.
And, like, we don't know what happens between, like, behind closed doors, but there's no indication whatsoever at all that he, like, that there was anything to be, like, concerned about.
No, because, like, even when she got arrested and stuff like that, didn't she just, like, try to downplay a lot of it? That, like, it wasn't like, oh, my husband beats me, and so this person gave me an out, and this is my only way out. I mean, she just really tried to, like, downplay it. Like, that's not what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, I was joking. Or, like, I didn't know he would take it that seriously. Like, we're just, like, having a conversation. It's not real. Like, he's in prison. We could never be together. But
it's like, you're talking about money. Like, the exchange of, like, actual dollar bills.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to cost $3.50 for, like, the plastic bag. Like, I mean, they're, like, itemizing stuff. You know, it's, like, very... So I think, like, normally... I usually tend to be, like, an apologist. I usually try to find, but I think for us, and if you're, sticking around with us, you'll know that we're not trying to, like, pathologize anybody. That's not our role as sociologists. I think our biggest concerns are, like, what are the social conditions that are existing for a person to be able to get away with these kind of things, or what are the social conditions that make people want to engage in this stuff? And there's been plenty of times that we've seen women engage in wanting to harm their husbands or wanting to, but there's, like, some serious solid reasons usually behind those things, right? I mean, abuse or some sort of violence, something like that. And then in this case, we're seeing that it's just literally, like, he's in my way. Yeah. Which is, there's just so much to unpack. First of all, what's the allure, I think, too, of women and these very dangerous men?
Yeah. So that's where I was really confused. Okay, so to me it's gross. Like, the, like, bad boy thing, when it's like abusive, when it's murder, it's gross. It is gross. When we were growing up, like, the bad boy, right, that like my friends would be interested in, he was a bad boy because he rode a motorcycle, not because he's, like, out there stabbing or shooting people.
Yeah.
Right? But there is almost, like, this trope that has been, I don't know, romanticized
Yeah.
about like the bad boy, and especially when they're serving time in prison, it's almost like, well, he can't cheat on me, right? Which is so gross.
And they can dedicate so much of their attention.
That's all they like. If they're in prison, they can only pay attention to me, right? So gross. And here's the thing, and like we try to be good sociologists. I try to be a very good sociologist, but I'm not sometimes. And I will stand by my statement that Grant Amato looks like Nosferatu.
It's my favorite.
He is not an attractive person.
No, like, he's not. Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, he's not somebody that we would find.
For anybody, that's what I'm saying. Like, you look like an 800-year-old vampire who eats the souls of children. Like, I'm not attractive.
But obviously he's, like, attractive to her.
I don't, like, there's no way, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just can't. I cannot wrap my head around it. Like, it's just physically not an attractive person. And then he does something so terrible.
Yeah.
And, like, to me, it's gross to look at it in any way, but there are times where, like, a guy will be arrested, right? And his mugshot gets out there, and women are like, oh, like, oh my God, he's so hot. And I'm like, if his face wasn't covered in the most ridiculous tattoos, and he had not murdered people, and he was walking down the street, and you're like, oh, that guy's hot, I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, like, whatever. But no. This is not that scenario. We do have to talk about Wade Wilson at some point, the Deadpool killer, the guy with all the tattoos.
Yes.
Because, oh my God, women went crazy. And, like,
women
gross.
do go, but they do go crazy. And I do think that this is, like, though, a social conditioning. I think that the narrative, and yeah, I do agree with you. I think, I hate to be like that, well, back in my day, but I do agree with you. I think that, you know, when we were kids, it was like the kid who, but there was always like this kind of dangerous rebellion tied to it. And you get taught that almost from a young age, this idea of like danger somehow. Well, we've taught, I don't know how to kind of put it in words. I think it's definitely tied to that romanticism of like, I'm his one and only, like, he's going to protect me.
Right.
Somehow jealousy becomes sexy. Like, you know.
Well, and there's that also the idea that he's going to, like, I can change him. Like, he's going to be vulnerable only around me. I'm going to be able to fix him. And it's going to be a wonderful relationship because of all of those things.
Yeah.
And then you add, like he was doing bad things because, like, his home life was bad, and I'm going to be able to change that for him. Like,
I mean, again, I think this is definitely, again, like, very gendered in the sense that women have long been taught to martyr themselves.
Yeah.
And particularly martyr themselves for their husbands, martyr themselves for their sons.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, as a mother of a son, right? Consistently, like, the whole boy mom trope, right? The whole, like, you know, my son this, my son that. Like, there's a consistent conversation that people are always having about, like, I will martyr myself for a man in any aspect, whether it's martyring myself as a mom for my son, that I do not hear in the same kind of discourse that you hear for girl moms.
No.
Right? You don't even hear the term girl mom mostly.
No,
you know, I mean,
really.
And then also, like, I will martyr myself for my husbands, right? I mean, this is like, I mean, I hate to say, like, we're seeing this huge uplift of, like, trad wives, right? Which, I mean, again, being huge feminists, you do you, boo-boo. Like, that's your choice, and we fight for your choice. But when it gets wrapped up in kind of these gendered things, you know, and this man represents something that is powerful in some way, that she's somehow held linked to herself with. And it's wild, because there's, like, an exerted effort you know, but it starts with like the media amplification. Would she seek that out if she hadn't seen this guy? And what is it? I want to interview you.
No.
I do. I want to be like, what was it in Control Alt Delete?
No.
But like, could you imagine, like, she's gonna say, like, there was this one moment where he like looked at the screen and I was like, that's the moment I fell in love. That was the moment I decided that I was gonna reach out to him.
I guess. It's just so, like, they are detailing how he brutally murdered his family. So to me, there's just like no way to get past that.
Well, you could save him though.
But he's in prison forever, and he murdered 3 people.
But then that makes him safe to save too.
But the other thing is, like,
redemption. We love a redemption arc.
Like, if he was so involved with this woman from Belarus, though, would you never feel like, oh, I could be as good as her? You know what I mean? Like,
that's a really great point. Like, where does Sylvie? We're screw Sylvie and all this. I mean, no, like, Sylvie, girl, get your bag.
Get your bag.
Like, I'm contemplating what I'm doing with my life. But I mean,
$600 an hour. Like, come on.
Well, also,
I feel like
this podcast is going to get real strange. But yeah, I guess that's a great point. We don't know what he's saying to her about, like, she was nothing. You know, I mean.
Yeah, like, how do you get over that? Like, not only, like, he murdered his family for another woman, and then you want to be with him. Like,
It's like, women do this with serial killers, though.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the Night Stalker. Didn't he get married in prison?
In prison, he sure did.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so did Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they represent this kind of, like, they will protect me above all else. This is just definitely, like, there's such a gendered, and then also, like, just the whole spectacle of murder and how we portray murder in public life, and in ways that are fantastical.
Yeah.
Not in ways that are like, can you believe that this person did this? I mean, it's entertainment now.
It is entertainment. When they make an entire Netflix documentary and it becomes so popular with, like, especially women, and like, there's an entire industry around true crime, which we love, and we're
kind of doing
100%.
Yeah.
True crime podcast, weird. But that it, like, kind of, it's geared for women. Like, it is
absolutely
marketed towards women, and that's who consumes that, right? So it's, that part is also very, like, that Control Alt Delete in some way probably
romanticized it in a
100%,
like, in a backward kind of way.
Made it sexy somehow,
yeah,
which is so gross. But then I also think about, like, her need for attention.
Yeah.
And because you marry somebody who has been on TV for numerous years, that show has been on TV for like 20-something
so
years.
you have a celebrity husband.
You have a celebrity husband, even though it's a ghost hunter, right? Like, he's still
celebrity.
He's still a celebrity. He's making good money, probably. He's on TV every week or whenever, you know? And then you find, and that, like, you end up, like, throwing that away, right? To be with someone who is a serial killer. But maybe it's because, like, the fame isn't, that attention isn't transferring to her quick enough.
Yeah.
And, like, this is a way where people are like, oh my God, did you see that Grant Amato, like, got married when he was in prison as to this woman, Victoria?
And then she's his mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Right? And then she can get on things and she's like, oh, my husband really is a, you know.
And she can start playing into the true crime thing.
Absolutely. Because they're making television shows about this now.
Yeah.
About women who are marrying men out of prison and all of this kind of stuff.
There's like a whole show on
There's
that.
a whole show on it.
I didn't even think about
you know,
that.
and again, a lot of these men, very controlling, very like, let me tell you what you will do with your own money. Right. You know, and I'm like, girl, you are working. And they're like, my husband said I couldn't buy this today. I'm like, your husband is behind how many feet of concrete? And they're like, he said he doesn't like me wearing a bikini. Okay.
All right.
I mean, it's just like, it is such, but it, like, the social conditions of making this sexy and making it, and then also, like, the pathology of making these people so different. Because I think that's where we so much differ than some of, like, the other areas that talk about crime and stuff like that, where it's like, there's always a pathology behind everything. This person was crazy or insane or whatever. And I'm not saying that there isn't pathology, but I'm saying there's so many social conditions we don't recognize,
right.
or the black and white of it all. Like, this is just bad and this is just good. And there's so much nuance to why people engage in the things that they do. And so sometimes when we see these kind of fictionalized characters, I mean, I think they become characters.
They do.
They become their own stars. And then people are like, oh, he was I always hear a narcissist, right? Like, everybody and their brother is a narcissist, right. Or, you know, all that kind of stuff. They're like totally forgetting all of the ways in which these people are very much the same as you and I.
Yeah.
But the social conditions allowed for different things. And I think that's what scares people the most. It's so much easier to be like, I would never, instead of like, maybe, you know, with her, like, even like, you know, like, how do you, it's hard to like humanize somebody like that, but then recognize that there's our social conditions that absolutely put people on the path to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
And why we see so many, I mean, why there's so many explanations for things like, why do these killers do this kind of stuff? I mean, obviously, we, like, even back to him for just a minute, even like addictions around sex and, you know, I'm not so sure that I think it's like a sex addiction, more like a power addiction, particularly for men, right? And how you can engage in power, exactly what he did with, what he thought he was doing with Sylvie, even though, girl, you had all the power. But I'm like, but like, even with her, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder, like, there is something there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I don't know. It's almost as if he had some sort of incel behavior.
Very incel. Oh, yeah.
Like, as in everything I read, there's never a mention of a woman in Grant's life except Sylvie. And so it's almost like I finally found somebody who is willing to pay attention to me.
Like, love me.
I might have to pay her. But she's finally paying attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents are trying to take that away from me.
And I have a right.
And I have the right. Like, if I'm finally, coming out of my incel.
That feels very, like, incel.
Yeah.
And then, on top of all of this stuff, too, like, just Ghost Adventures also capitalizing on it. Like, the pain of a human.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, so we've talked about this, but he, you know, Aaron Goodwin has been on the show for a really long time and would hope that he has, like, some power, some control over, like, creative control over the show to some extent, where he could be like, I don't want you to put, like, the worst day of my life on camera, right? We would hope that he would have that power, right? But also don't know how much, like, manipulation happens where they're like, you have to put that on there. Like, we filmed that. Do you know how good of a story that's going to make? You know, or even if he knows, like, However, I will say, like, I watched the um like him speaking in court, and it's so sad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to, like, downplay his sadness and stuff like that. I, like,
But also, like, it is kind of like a you to his wife. Like, I'm gonna capitalize on you doing something to
I'm going to
me.
get more money.
I'm gonna get my $11,000 back
With interest.
with interest, bitch. Yeah.
And she does not, how long was she sentenced for?
Oh my god, like, not enough time at all. 36 to 90 months or something.
Could you,
for
what?
conspiracy?
So that's the thing that terrifies me too. Like, I think I would be a little bit terrified. Him,
Yeah.
you know, is like, in 3 years,
Yeah.
she's going to have get out by that time, and all now she's made into the media, so who's reaching out to her and being like, I'll help you, girl, you know?
That's actually so gross, because there is like there is a community of men that also are like really into women who are in prison. Oh, that's gross.
Because they can save them.
And also
stop saving people. That's not true.
They don't love you. Oh my God.
Just quit it, okay?
Quit. Stop it right now.
I'm just floored by all of it. And then, but I mean, yeah, because especially with Ghost Adventures, like, here we are. We're in this place. All these people suffered. People died. There's legs in a box, you know?
So what's funny is I watched that episode. I don't even remember them talking about that.
They missed an opportunity.
They probably were talking about it, but I was so like...
I'd be like, call the FBI back and be like, can you call me back right as I open up this box of legs? Okay, I mean, I would imagine the legs are gone.
From 2006, probably. I mean, 10 years later, they're probably put somewhere else, but who knows?
It was 20 years later.
Oh my God.
I was like, it's 2016.
1 year later.
We're old is really what this boils down to. But I mean, yeah, like, you're in a creepy place, and then, you know, so now you got the ghosts after you and the humans after you.
Yeah.
Brother, retire.
Oh, but it makes for good TV.
It makes for
that's
good
TV.
It makes good TV. So it's all spectacle.
Yeah.
And we want more of it.
We do. Well, not more murder. And
yeah, like,
not more, you know, conspiracy to commit murder, but we will consume it. As soon as it is put on TV, we will consume it. Not just me and you. Lots of people.
But I definitely think this is also, I mean, it's when we talk about Anomie, right? And we talk about, like, Durkheim, and we talk about, like, creating, like, this idea of, like, collective consciousness and, like, the insider-outsider groups and the ways in which these kind of things function to create, like, collective consciousness. Again, it goes back to, like, I would never be her.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Right.
I'm, like, can objectively look at this and say that I would never. And I mean, I wouldn't. Like, I think that I genuinely would not do that.
Right.
But I mean, I think that, again, it's so easy to pathologize what she's done. Especially the scrutiny, like, of her, what she's done, also takes away from the scrutiny of what these men have done as well, including capitalizing on the fact that, you know, she was going to kill him.
Yeah. Well, and I think there are definitely, you know, like, theories and deviant studies that we can apply to this, like, you know, differential association, this idea that people develop multiple definitions of norms and, like, what's right and wrong, and like, you can like, that to me would make sense in a situation like Victoria, right, where she's like, he's done this, right? Grant Amato has done this to his family, and yeah, it's wrong, but I love him, and
and I'm around creepy all the time.
Like, this, it's not a
this isn't weird.
It's not that weird. Like, it's just That's light.
My husband consistently goes after ghosts who've killed their husbands before.
Yeah, well, like, legitimately,
You know, like,
and it adds to, like, this, like,
and they believe it's
culture.
real.
Yeah, like, this culture that has been created around, like, the creepy and the you know, like, death.
Like, don't come at us. We're not making an apology.
Absolutely not.
But I think that we're just trying to work through, you know, what exists on the external.
Yeah, all of this has already happened. So analyzing it using some of the teachings and the things that we've developed through
beyond
sociology.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's just always such an easy out.
And none of this is, you know, we're not saying that this is for sure. This is how you should look at it. It's just one way to analyze it.
It's how we as sociologists also start asking the questions.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how do you start piecing together, like, how might we critically think about these things? I don't think we have the answers.
We don't.
We, again, would like to interview you.
No.
We don't have to interview the vampire.
I don't want to talk to Victoria. No, I don't want to talk to you.
I'll do it for us. And then we can analyze it. Like, she's going to come to us.
Hey, I heard you on this podcast talking about
me. And you guys really get me.
Like, really get me.
Like, we knew it all along.
But Grant is not Nosferatu.
Well, he's sexy. Which we're going to be done. I think this is a theme that's going to come up a lot. Is, like, these men that present themselves in very dangerous ways. In the ways in which women flock to said men. Yeah. Fictional, real, all the things, you know, and you build up a persona. And then, I mean, I think it's really easy. Once people build up a persona around you, all you have to do is just act it out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you think, like, I'm the greatest.
Yeah, then you're going to be great. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Then I can do anything. And then all of a sudden, you know, it just makes sense. You've bought into my cult.
Absolutely.
I don't know the answer.
I don't know either.
But it's a good one.
Okay, well,
that's it.
I think that's our story for today.
I mean, until we uncover more stuff, then maybe there'll be a part 2 when, you know.
We'll have to do an update when she's released.
Or when she lets us interview her.
Interviewing her.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.